There's been a lot of chatter regarding the box office results of Superman. Some media platforms praising it so far for its 400 million plus box office in just 10 days, despite its less than admirable international box office results, while other people are bashing it, calling it a flop, saying its weak international box office shows that the movie sucks and is not interesting, and constantly comparing it to Man of Steel's box office goalposts. I really enjoyed the movie. I've seen it 3 times already, and I also love Man of Steel. And I'm happy that most critics and audience reviews are mostly favorable. Do I find Superman's 400 plus million revenue in 10 days impressive, especially with Jurassic World still showing legs and bringing in good money internationally? Yes, I do. Do I think Superman is going to reach $1 billion in the box office? No, I do not, and I never thought it had a chance even before it came out. In fact, I always thought the ceiling for this movie would be in the 700 million worldwide range at best, and that's with or without Fantastic Four pulling up to the playground later. And Superman very well may fall short of 700 million. With that being said, China has no interest in this movie, and you always want China to be interested when it comes to these kinds of films. Do I personally care if it surpasses Man of Steel in revenue or tickets sold? No, I do not. What Superman is trying to do and what it has to do is completely different from what Man of Steel was subjected to. Man of Steel came up when superhero movies were at their pinnacle, or ascending to it at least. DC specifically was coming off the hugely successful and critically acclaimed Dark Knight trilogy. There was no blemishes or baggage on DC Warner comparatively to the state of the DCEU. Most would agree that Green Lantern and Superman Returns were the worst movies since 2005 before the DCEU. Actually, the worst movie? That prize would probably go to Jonah Hex.
Who's that Pokemon?
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, Warner DC was a more trusted brand thanks to Batman, or maybe people just wanted more Batman, but people were open to watching their more notable movies that pop up with the DC logo on them, largely thanks to Christopher Nolan. So Man of Steel had the benefit of a healthy ecosystem following The Dark Knight Rises the following year. At the time of release, Man of Steel was just a solo film with no huge plans or implications of a larger connected universe. Now, Superman 2025 is not in that situation at all. Superman is in the complete opposite situation of Man of Steel. Superman's priority here is to restore faith in the DC brand to set the table for the movies after it in this confirmed cinematic universe. Of course, they want to make a lot of money and as much money as possible in the process, obviously, but having a movie that is well accepted is first and foremost in the grand scheme of things. Big picture. We gotta think big picture. The idea is for people that decide to pass on the movie now will eventually watch it in the streaming or DVD spaces. Do people still watch 4K and Blu-ray DVDs? I don't know. And that they will hopefully like it when they finally get around to it, and then be on board for future movies. The DCEU, despite having some gems and fantastic movies, was largely a disappointment and a flop. Between horrendous movies, Warner exec interferences, workspace misconduct, poor scripts, poor direction, poor audience trust and interest, nothing was looking good for the DCEU in its final years. Most of the movies underperformed because the fans were no longer interested and invested in the cinematic universe. Even if the movie was good, the fans were not sold on this cinematic universe anymore. The star power of The Rock alone couldn't even put enough people in the seats for Black Adam. And despite there being some good movies in there, like the first Shazam and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, many people were not willing to give DC a chance anymore. It was already too late, and the damage was irreversible. With that much needed context, Superman is already starting off at the bottom of a steep hill with the DCEU attached to the DC Warner name. Superman actually has more in common with Batman Begins from that perspective. Batman Begins was in the same situation as Superman back in the mid-2000s. DC films were not in a good place. The last few Superman movies were trash. Superman 3, Superman 4. Batman and Robin was trash. Steel, Catwoman were trash. And going into Batman Begins, there hadn't been a Batman movie in 8 years. And there hadn't been a decent one in 10 years. And there hadn't been a great one in 16 years. Batman Begins was more focused on bringing back faith and interest in Batman films and the DC brand along with it. And while Batman Begins did not have a huge box office with only $375 million, because many people were uneasy and skeptical about it, eventually, by the time the sequel came out, everyone would have had a chance to watch it on TV or DVD and realize this is actually a great movie, and I will be sure to be in theaters for the sequel, The Dark Knight. And sure enough, with the addition of Heath Ledger's Joker and the restored faith in the brand thanks to Christopher Nolan and Batman Begins, The Dark Knight grossed over $1 billion worldwide. Regardless of box office numbers, Superman needs to bring the interest back, and based on the reviews of the majority that have actually watched the movie, they all seem to enjoy it. Anyway, folks, that's all I gotta say about it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you for stepping in. Sound off in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. And that's it.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.